Justin, over 50 days since Kosu completed their takeover of the club. Firstly, how have you and the consortium settled into life as the club's new owners in the past 7.5 weeks?
Well, I think we're really enjoying it. We've enjoyed the 50 days a lot more than we did the preceding 50 days. Obviously, it was pretty stressful getting the takeover over the line. But yeah, it's been really good so far, and I think overall really positive, but very early days.
I mean, most supporters, every supporter in the land would just love to have a normal football club. Does Southend United feel like a normal football club now?
I think if I've learnt one thing in this early period is I'm not so sure there is such a thing as a normal football club. Football, there's always stuff going on. I'm sure we'll talk about some of it today. There's always something going on that's unexpected, but I think that's part of what makes it such a fascinating industry and what gives us the enjoyment. But yeah, I think now we're focused on normal football club problems.
If we just cast our minds back a little bit to when the takeover did complete, just towards the back end of July, and it was a very busy 3 weeks leading up to that first game at home against York City, and amongst other things, the season tickets were released, which saw an incredible uptake from our brilliant supporters of almost 4,400 season tickets sold now. Just how amazing is that? Was there a tinge of surprise at all from you and the other consortium members?
Yeah, there was. I mean, we did budget estimates and the sales for season tickets and everything else has exceeded those estimates. And we thought there'd be an uplift. You know, we've obviously over the last year, we have had chance to speak to so many different fans in and around the grounds and the pubs and in the community. So we know the support was there. We knew that everyone was really ready to get behind the club. I mean, we already were even through the dark times, right? But there was an extra level of support that we knew that would come out if the takeover went through, and we've seen that most obviously in the huge crowds that we've been getting this year at home. But also you can see Southend United shirts a lot more through the city, I think, this year than we did last year. So a big thank you from me and everyone at the club for the show of support that fans have given the team since the takeover. And everything we do going forward is going to be built off that strong fan base that we're privileged to have.
Yeah, and big crowds is great for Kev and the players and driving the team on to get 3 points, but it's also good for the balance sheet as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It certainly is. Big crowds are great. Just to set expectations, the balance sheet that we inherited isn't ideal. So there's a long way to go, but certainly big crowds and the support, not only of the fans, I should point out, the local business community has really come out and support us as well with different sponsorships and helping us do different things around the ground. Some of the improvements you've seen in the facilities have been sort of sponsored by local partners. So yeah, on the financial front, it's a hot topic at this particular club and other clubs. In fact, on that, Matt, we are going to communicate our financials sort of annually just to let people understand where we're at and how things like crowds and other things are moving the needle. We're heading in the right direction, but we've got a long way to go, and we're certainly not at a point that would make anyone comfortable just yet.
No, of course, it's the club that has sort of struggled financially, certainly in recent times. Do you feel like there is a bit of light at the end of the tunnel? Is there a bit of stability on the horizon, maybe, if not long-term, even short-term?
Well, I think Kosu is definitely giving that stability. We know what we're in for. We took a long time to do due diligence, longer than anyone liked. So I think from a fan's perspective, we're stable. From a long-term perspective, though, I think we've been very open that losing close to £2 million a year is not sustainable. You're always reliant on one or more people to voluntarily lose that on your behalf. I don't think that's an assumption everyone should make. So for right now, everyone should feel nice and relaxed and just enjoy the football. But part of our challenge that we knew coming in was to put a lot of hard work in and indeed some money and make some good decisions to ensure that we're not losing this sort of money every year. We need to move towards sustainability.
And football fans are the lifeblood of any football club, and we are certainly no different in that. We see our supporters turn up in their droves week in, week out, away from home, and also here at Roots Hall, of course. How does the club plan to engage with those supporters and communicate with our brilliant supporters more often?
Yeah, I mean, fans love their club. Our fans especially love their club, and part of that comes from a real desire to know what's going on and to be communicated with, and where possible be transparent. As you would know, Matt, I as well want to increase the amount of communications the club does, and not just the owners. The club is a hell of a lot more than all of us. In fact, I should probably speak the least out of all of us. So we will be communicating to fans a fan engagement strategy, which will include a section on how we're going to increase comms and the different ways we're going to meet and communicate. And that communication is two-way. I do feel we need to make it easier for fans to give us their feedback, and we'll do some things on that. And then, of course, once we've got feedback as a club, we need to communicate what we're doing, what we're changing. We're going to have stadium renovation plans. We're changing things around the place constantly. So we really want to make quite a significant change in the way we communicate in both directions. We are going to release a fan advisory board, or launch a fan advisory board soon, and I'll see stuff on our club website, I guess, when you put it out, Matt. And that'll be a key pillar in how we communicate, but there'll be lots of other ways that fans should see that they can stay connected with their club and see what's going on.
Yeah, excellent. And you sort of touched on it there as well, the changing of some of the facilities at the club, some bigger, some smaller. We've seen a scoreboard that's gone up, which has been great, and some of the paintings and murals that have gone up as well in the room that we're sitting in, of course. Kevin and the first team are also training on the new pitches over at the new training ground, which is great. In terms of, as we sort of move forward from this point onwards, can fans expect to see more changes, and also in terms of like the renovations in the long term for Roots, or what can you tell supporters about that?
Yeah, so I think there was a bunch of stuff that we could do straight away. I think everyone would have noticed: fix the clock, fix the sign, and fix the scoreboard. They were the three, I think, really tangible signs of, well, hey, we fixed the things, but hopefully people saw more than that we were going to start to, okay, the takeover's done, let's start to fix things step by step. Obviously, some things can be done quickly, like those things I just mentioned. Other things take a hell of a lot longer. One of the things we'll communicate will be indeed the plans for each part of the stadium, but we're so early, we don't have those plans yet. We're still trying to figure out what should go where, what restrictions we have. There's things like licensing restrictions. Of course, there's financial restrictions. So we're very early days yet. We probably don't have much to communicate, but as we start to formulate our plans, we'll communicate it. But we just want to keep moving forward. So we know that we would like to be able to serve beer and food a lot more easily in the West than we can at the moment. We've made a small change this week to increase the capacity in that bar that's over in the West, but that's not the end of it. It's the start of it. So we're going to keep making changes. We'll communicate what we're going to do, but people have to bear with us. Some things can be done quickly. Some will take quite a lot longer.
For all the positivity that there has been since the takeover, there's of course, we are a football club after all, and there's probably not been without its challenges that have cropped up along the way. There's been certain issues with the availability of players for different varying reasons, and Kev sort of mentioned it in one of his post-match interviews about the spine of the team that's kind of almost fallen away or left the club, certainly the one that played towards the back end of last season. What sort of insight can you give to supporters in terms of some of those difficulties that have occurred there?
Yeah, it's funny, I think at the start of the season, obviously we're chatting privately internally, thinking we need a number 10, and George Moncur subsequently came in, and maybe one more striker. And then all of a sudden, we've lost 6 players in a week, and no squad at any level can deal with 6 players becoming unavailable within a week. Kevin and his team, and of course the players themselves, done an incredible job, showed that resilience that I think we all know them for, to not just compete, but a point at Oldham I thought was a fantastic result. A dominant win recently against Eastleigh at home, all with a very light squad. In fact, the Eastleigh game was brilliant for what happened on the pitch, but for me, we had Ollie Coker, Cav Miley, Danny Waldron and Josh Walker all sitting behind me. So the depth is there, but it's currently unavailable. So there's really good signs there. And again, just congratulations to the football department for weathering. It's not a normal week to lose 6 players, and we had to deal with that. Obviously, we lost. The players were unavailable for different reasons, so I'm sure fans will want to talk about it. We've got 4 injuries, which you can't do much about. Harry Cardwell has been a wonderful servant to the club. Obviously had his release clause met, as much as we would have loved him to stay. To a degree, that's football. And what I would say is, we could have lost Harry for a free 2 months ago. So would have rather stay, but sometimes you've got to make the best of a situation, and it's up for those that come in and those that are already there to ensure that as a club we're still moving in the right direction. That's the nature of football, and I'm pretty confident we're going to end up just fine.
I think I count 8 new signings since the transfer embargo was lifted. I can't exactly remember when that was, which one it was either. But it's great that we can now bring players and strengthen the squad. And to that end, we brought in a new signing, Macaulay Bonne, on Monday. Do you think that fans can expect to see a further strengthening of the squad?
Back to the transparency has its limits. Like all football clubs, we want to keep our cards fairly close to our chest when it comes to transfers. Kevin and John and their team will have multiple targets for multiple situations. We're still a bit light on, I'm sure Kevin won't mind me saying that. We're a bit light on, so we're looking for options. We do have 4 quality players injured that will come back at different times. So Kevin and his team will manage the short term. Do we need some reinforcements in the short term, and what their longer term plans are? What I will say is Kevin's the right person to give you your updates on what we're doing with the squad. I don't want to get in trouble for saying the wrong thing about transfers.
I don't think you'll be telling us either, to be honest with you, to keep that one nice.
I suspect so as much.
Yeah. Just finally then, just to wrap things up, could you sort of maybe just give a final message to supporters? A lot's happened, but of course there's a lot probably that's still yet to happen that you would like to see happen. Just a bit of a final message to our brilliant fans.
Yeah, I think the main message about where we are is everything's got to be balanced. We're ambitious, but we've got to be sensible. We're trying to do a lot of things now, and hopefully fans that are coming on a match day are seeing improvements. Almost every time we come, something's changing, whether it's a change in beer or a new door in a bar to help capacity, or the murals in these rooms. We're making changes, we're moving forward as a club, but we're trying to be sensible. We're trying to make sure we don't try and solve all our problems in one transfer window or in one summer. But I'd say enjoy it. I'm almost tempted to say be patient, but patient implies give us a couple of years and then everything will be great. But then you miss out on those couple of years. Enjoy the journey. Give us your feedback. As I mentioned earlier, we're going to make it easier to get that feedback. But let's work on it together. Let's build the club that we want to build. And ultimately, everything we do on and off the pitch, it all comes together on a Saturday or a Tuesday. The support for Kevin and the team has been fantastic. They're going to need that support. There'll be ups and downs in this season. We've seen it in 7 games. People are up when we win and down when we lose. And that's the nature of being a fan. Part of our job is to be a bit more balanced. I think all the signs are there that we're heading the right direction. And as a club, let's stick together. Let's enjoy the journey and see where it takes us.